Hi, my name is Riley Allen. This is my review of the Pixar movie Monsters, Inc. So we start this movie off with basically, an introductory. We get the lowdown, the rundown of this is a world filled with monsters, and our main characters, Mike and Sully, work at this place called Monsters, Inc. I think that's it, or something like no. They work at this place where they scare children, because scaring the screams of children is basically their electricity. Sully is a big blue and purple polka dotted monster, while Mike is a green, basically ball shaped with one eye in the center. And their personalities are, Mike is basically like, best way to describe it, Sully seems like the laid back type of guy. Mike is by the book. Best way to describe him. We have the boss, Waternoose. We have like the secretary, Roz, and she works with the paperwork department, and she and Mike don't get along together, because while Mike gives off the thing of he's by the book, he's also very forgetful, so he forgets to file his paperwork. Roz does not like this. Mike is also in a relationship with Celia, who's basically a Medusa-like monster, and she's working the front desk, I guess. Mike and Sully are roommates. They're best friends. I really love their relationship. Another character is Randall. He's basically kind of like a lizard type monster. He has the ability to go invisible, or mostly just really camouflage. So like chameleon-ish. So the plot starts basically picking up when Sully notices a door, and there's a child. The child escapes. He gets really worried there for a sec. He tries to get the kid out, tries to, get all this child's toys that's touching him, because they think children's toys are, like, toxic and dangerous, basically like gamma radiation to them, I guess. And one of the running gags of the movie is this guy, Sanderson or something, kept getting things on him, so they would be like 21 something, I think it was. So the basically CDC type guys, CDA, I think they're called in there, come in. They basically shaved him, decontaminate him, and then that was his running gag. It went on twice until the final time where his partner, went to go do it again. Sanderson shut that down, took it off, shoved it in, and threw him in the room. Be like, your problem now. I did like this. So Sully basically freaks out, gets the child into this Monsters, Inc. bag, and books it to where Mike is on a date with Celia, because they're together going on a nice date. Sully got the reservation because they're bros like that. And and the child, Boo, I don't know if she's named Boo yet, but she escapes, and the CDA basically comes in. Right, I'm pretty sure it's the CDA. They come in, basically start arresting people, and then there's this, while Sully and Mike book it, and then they show, this is what I liked. I liked that they interviewed random people, and they just all gave not random bullshit, interviews, like, which didn't happen, but, fear-mongering, all that. And so they're basically trying to hide the kid, But she gets scared and distressed, so she starts screaming, which is a power overflow. Then she starts laughing, which is a power overflow. And then it causes a power outage. So Sully manages to finally get her to sleep, throws her, and basically proves that, but she's scared about the monsters in the closet because, monsters do come out the closet, and her particular monster is Randall, the chameleon dude. So, it should be noted that Mike is taking this exactly how everyone should. Sully's acting like a kid who just found a stray cat, basically, and oh, so cute, we should keep it. Mike's now mind you, they think the children are toxic, so he's like, alright, we have something toxic. If we have this here, we're going to jail, we're losing our jobs. He's the right amount of concern, but he's also definitely not gonna throw Sully under the bus. I really love Mike's characterization in this. I do. So they make a plan to get the human Boo to the workplace, and by dressing her up as a monster. But Boo is a small child, so every time they turn around, she disappears like a magician. Eventually, they kind of figure out, Randall figures out that he knows about the kid, and basically threatens Mike. Celia confronts him, and she is suitably, in the, again, correct amount of pissed off, because she, got danged, she got decontaminated by the CDA, and she's very pissed that she just got left by Mike, and her date was ruined. Very fair. So he's trying to throw the kid out into just any random door, but Sully is, he's like, that's not her door. We can't do that. We can't do that. Another thing, I need to know how the time works between the door portals and Monsters, Inc., because she spent the entire night at Sully's place. Is there a missing report for this girl? There must be a missing report, because I don't know. There's a completely different side of the story where they're like, honey, where's our child? Did some monster came in and kidnapped our child. And then they finally get her back, and she's just talking about these monsters. She's trying to describe all these monsters. Yes, sweetie, we know a monster did take you. A monster did take you. I want that movie. I want the movie where there's a gruff detective who remembers the monster of his childhood, has a grudge, again gets this case, and is like, son of a bitch. So Mike gets kidnapped by Fungus, who's basically Randall's Mike So Mike is the door operator while Sully is the scarer. Fungus is Randall's door operator while Randall is the scarer. They basically try to kidnap the child and bring it to this scare tractor, which basically I'm pretty sure is applied to kill it. And they're trying to do it to Mike, but he escapes. They basically go on this, chase of a bit. And eventually they go to Waternoose, and Waternoose basically proves to be like, yeah, I know, I'm part of that, and banishes them like the Abominable Snowman. Also, I did like that they mentioned earlier that this could happen. Like Mike says, we could get banished like the Loch Ness Monster, the Abominable Snowman. Also, so they do get banished. They get in there, and they meet the Abominable Snowman. And here's the thing, I think this is a bit of a plot hole. The Abominable Snowman does not seem to recognize them. Doesn't seem to recognize them, and they don't seem to really recognize him. But in the ending of the prequel movie, Monsters University, it's implied that they work in the mailroom. They get their job starting, Mike and Sully, in the mailroom, and their direct boss or their direct supervisor is the Abominable Snowman. Now, this place is very large. This place is very big. So I understand, in a workplace that's large, you're not gonna know everybody. But I feel like, somewhat, and also I guess, it depends on how far along he was banished. Because at this point, Sully is a very well-known scarer. So, I mean, it depends when the Abominable Snowman got banished. I feel like he'd recognize Sully. And I also feel like they might recognize their, superior. I also feel like Mike and Sully would recognize their superior because that was their superior. And then he is more famous because he got banished. Also, I need to know more about this banishing thing. Is this actual punishment? Did the Abominable Snowman commit a crime? He went through the courts and they decided, Mr. Snowman, we must banish you. So, Sully and Mike have this big fight about Boo because, again, this is this is their livelihood. Mike's thinking about both their livelihoods at this point. Both of them have very valid points. They're just kind of not really on the same page at the moment. Like, Sully is wanting to protect Boo. Because Boo... Also, I love that Sully basically had this come-to-Jesus moment where he's like, oh shit, I am a monster. Because he was doing a demonstration to the new scares where he scared a simulator. But Boo was there, and he scared Boo. Which made him basically realize, oh, she was scared of me. And he didn't like that. So he's, basically kind of going through a mini redemption arc, which I don't think is really talked about. Because, the monsters were kind of villains. They were scaring these children. Sully is our hero. But, to these children, he is the boogeyman under the bed. He is their nightmare. For so many years and for so many children, Sully has been the Freddy Krueger, basically, I'm not to Freddy Krueger levels, but, he's been the boogeyman. He's scared enough kids so much that he's almost beat the all-time scare record. And he's the best scarer in the company, or at least on that floor. So, he's basically going through a little redemption arc, basically, trying to protect the kids. And Mike's, worried about their livelihoods, Also, I do love a character thing about Mike is he doesn't really get offended, when they were in a commercial, his face got blocked out by the logo, but he was like, I was in a commercial. Or later on, he's on a magazine, but his face is blocked out by a QR code or something like that. And he's like, I'm on a magazine. So, I love the optimism from Mike. So Sully manages to escape basically on a makeshift shed to the village, through the doors and back to the monster world. And side note, this argument between Mike and... This is kind of where I really need to know the time differences between the human world and the monster world, because Sully and Mike had a not significantly short argument. Sully had a mad dash from the top of a mountain to a village. And all in this time, Waternoose, who had Boo in his arms, still did not have her in the Scream Extractor. Right as Sully was getting there, she was just being put in there. So what did they do? Did they stop for a bathroom break? Did they stop to get lunch? Did they just, like, throw her in a cage while they ate some po' boys or some, sandwiches? Some pizza? Did they get some coffee? And were they just going on a leisurely stroll? They might have just been walking a leisurely stroll. They thought, since Mike and Sully were the only one that knew about Boo, and they banished him, no way they're coming back. So they were just probably going on a leisurely stroll. But that's like... And then, Sully managed to break Boo free, but Randall turns invisible and basically, starts shadow boxing, beating the shit out of Sully. So Sully's basically got to shadow box him. And Mike comes in, and he starts trying to apologize, which I do like. He said had his argument, realized, hey, I was maybe a bit of a jerk about this. I see your point. I just need you to see mine. Came back, apologized. Kind of got mad at Sully because he wasn't paying attention because, he didn't notice Sully was getting his ass kicked. Once he noticed it, though, he was like, oh, we gotta go. So, they had a mad dash. They started running. They tried to get Boo to her door. They basically started clinging onto these doors as they were going on this track, which basically made me think that seems both fun and terrifying, just holding onto these doors and riding on these tracks. Also, Randall's chasing them. So they power up the doors due to Boo's, I think, either scream or laugh. And they start going through these doors to escape Randall, get closer to Randall once he gets Boo. Eventually, the door is summoned while they're on it. Boo's door is summoned by Waternoose in the CDA. Mike managed to evade them with Boo's monster suit, while Sully escapes with Boo. Mike manages to trick Waternoose into getting his confession, which gets him arrested, and Roz comes out revealing she's like an undercover agent. She's the boss of the CDA. And she's like weird that they nearly ruined their operation and stuff, that, trying to blow it under the rug now. And then they finally send Boo back. Also, we got a little closure, I guess, with Celia, because I guess Celia forgave Mike. She ended up helping them escape from Randall for a little bit, which was a cool little scene. They get Boo back, and they realize, due to, what happened with Boo, that laughter is more, basically, potent, than the screams, which would be... You can have less... I guess it's basically you can fill more canisters with laughter than you can with... It would take less laughter to fill, like, one canister than it would to take screams to canisters, I guess? I don't know. Anyway, so they open up a laugh factory. So that's how, Mike gets the spotlight. And I'm assuming it's implied that Sully's now the owner. And at the ending, we get a reunion with Boo, because Mike, being the bro he is, repaired Boo's door, which got shredded, because, once a child stops being afraid of you, they shut your door because you're basically useless. And since, Boo conquered her fear of Randall, going as far to strangle him, yeah. Also, Randall got his comeuppance by getting flung to I'm assuming it sounded like a southern trailer park, into the, trailer park of a southerner. Maybe Florida. I don't know. I don't know what, it's supposed to be, but I'm pretty sure, it was the southern United States he was thrown onto. So he started getting beat up by a woman with a broom while Waternoose got arrested. And the ending was us hearing Boo call Sully Kitty, which is what she called him throughout the movie. Again, though, I really need to know the timeline, because I feel like she was missing. She was in the monster world enough where her parents would have obviously noticed she's missing. There would definitely have been a police report. I don't know. The only thing that I really didn't like about this movie, I loved a lot, was the fact that Waternoose and Randall took their dear sweet time to get Boo to the Scream Extractor. I don't know. I do like that Waternoose seemed to be genuinely disappointed that he had to banish Sully. Like, you made me lose my top scare, which is basically like, you made me lose my top moneymaker. Which is basically, even, his supposed care about Sully, which, kind of showed earlier, was just basically like, the greed. I really love the friendship between Mike and Sully throughout this movie. The relationship between Boo and Sully was fun to watch, Overall, I think I'm gonna give this movie a 10 out of 10. There's not so much wrong. To me, a perfect movie is something where I could watch it again and again without complaint. And the only thing I can find that I really didn't enjoy was, like, the way that Waternoose and Randall took their slow, dear, sweet time to get Boo to the Scream Extractor. But, even then, I'm just like, maybe it's perception. Maybe Sully and Mike's argument and his dash to the village didn't take as long as I thought, and maybe since the compound is pretty big, and they thought they were safe, they just walked it instead of running it, which was what Sully was doing most of the movie, basically running around. So, even then, it's fine. So overall, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.